planted garlic, onions, leeks, and shallots in the fall when most of our other crops were coming out of the garden. This fall planting gives the plants time to establish and begin to grow their foliage before the winter sets in. And then in the spring, as the weather warms, they resume active growth and we're able to get a nice crop in before the heat of the summer sets in. This year we're experiencing a little bit of a problem with our plants flowering, and this is most likely due to the extreme temperature fluctuations we had early in the season. Very early spring we had weather in the 90s, and that was followed by real cold, almost freezing temperatures. This kind of threw the plants out of cycle. Unfortunately, with our onions, removing the flower heads at this time is not going to benefit us much. We're not going to get more energy put into our bulbs. In fact, when we cut the heads off, what we're more likely going to do is open up an area where we can get some infection in the plant. Removing flower heads from our shallots and our leeks, again, is not going to provide any benefit to the crop. Garlic is the one exception. If you do see the flowers, or what we call scapes, forming on those, you can remove them, and in some cultivars they can be a nice tasty treat. So as our onions develop, they're not really, because of the flowering, they're not putting as much energy into the root, and we're not getting those nice shoulders. Another problem is we're not going to be able to store these onions. They're not going to develop a dry skin. And so what we need to do is just plan on using them for fresh use only. You can harvest a little bit at a time as you need them, and then hopefully they'll put on a little bit more growth throughout the season. Our shallots we generally harvest when the leaves die back about a third of the way, and if you have real loose soil, you can usually just pull them up out of the ground. If you're having trouble with that, use a fork to push them up, and then you can pull them the rest of the way. And shallots are ready to harvest when the bulbs are about 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So we're going to have a nice crop here. We want to harvest our leeks and our onions in the same way, using a fork to lift them up and being sure that we put it in a good distance away from the plant so we don't damage it. Well, hopefully we'll end up with a nice harvest despite the flowering of our plants.